The room was silent, but the tension burned hotter than fire. His eyes locked on mine, full of anger and longing, and I could feel my pulse racing. One step closer, and the space between us disappeared. Heat, breath, and desire crashing together in a way neither of us could escape. Welcome to Pure Blush BL. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our newest, sweetest, and steamiest BL stories. Sit back, relax, and let the story begin. I always told myself that life gives no second chances. Once something is gone, it stays gone. People leave. Feelings fade. The past stays where it belongs, behind you. That was how I lived. That was how I built my name in the company, my walls, my cold armor. But everything I believed shattered the moment he walked into the office. His name was called softly by the HR manager, Kang Jae-hyun. My heart almost stopped. The air in the conference room felt sharp, cutting through my lungs. I hadn't heard that name in years, yet the sound of it dragged every memory back. The laughter, the kisses, the warmth I had thrown away. I straightened in my chair, keeping my face unreadable. That was the mask I wore best. But inside, I was falling apart. And then he entered. Jae-hyun walked with the same easy confidence he had in college, but his eyes were no longer the same. Once they had been soft, always smiling. Now they were sharp, guarded, like cold fire. His black hair fell across his forehead, and his jaw looked stronger, older. He had grown, but the sight of him still burned into me like it always had. For a second, his gaze met mine. Time froze. I expected anger, shock, maybe even surprise. But what I saw was worse, nothing. His eyes slid past me like I was a stranger. My chest tightened. After everything, he looked at me as if I had never mattered. The meeting continued, words flying around me, but I heard nothing. My head was filled with guilt and old scars. I was the one who had left. I was the one who had ghosted him, vanishing without a word. I had been a coward, running from love because of fear of my family's judgment, fear of being ruined, fear of myself. And now fate laughed at me. Jae-hyun was my new junior. The day dragged like slow fire. I kept stealing glances at him across the office. He didn't look at me once. Not once. He spoke with others, polite and professional, his voice calm, but cold. His smile never reached his eyes. When he finally came to my desk with a file, his hand brushed the edge of mine. The touch was quick, accidental. But my skin burned like it remembered everything. His fingers against mine in the dark, his hand clutching my shirt when he kissed me breathless. I looked up at him. For the first time all day, his eyes locked onto mine. There it was. The fire. Hidden under the ice, but alive. Resentment. Hurt. Maybe still a trace of something more. But he said nothing. He only bowed lightly and walked away. I sat there, drowning in silence. By evening, the office was almost empty. I was still at my desk, buried in numbers, trying to escape my thoughts. But of course, fate was not done mocking me. Jae-hyun appeared at the corner of my desk, holding his laptop. "The report is due tonight," he said flatly. "We'll need to finish it together." Together. I nodded stiffly, my throat dry. The hours stretched as we sat side by side, our shoulders almost touching. The quiet between us was heavy, filled with words unsaid. Every time he leaned closer to point at the screen, my pulse jumped. His scent, clean, sharp, familiar, wrapped around me, dragging me back to nights I tried to forget. My hand brushed his by accident when I reached for the mouse. He didn't move away, but he didn't look at me either. The tension wrapped tight, almost choking. I couldn't take it anymore. "Jae-hyun," I whispered. He paused, his fingers freezing above the keyboard. Slowly, he turned his face to me. His eyes were unreadable, but they pierced through me like knives. I swallowed hard. It's been a long time. His lips curved, not a smile, but something sharper. Not long enough. The words hit me like a slap. My chest tightened with guilt. I'm sorry. He leaned back in his chair, his gaze locked on me. "Sorry? That's it." His voice was low, calm, but edged with steel. "You disappeared, Min-joon. Do you even know what you did to me?" My throat closed. The truth clawed inside me, but I couldn't explain. I couldn't tell him how fear had ruled me, how I had chosen safety over love. All I could do was stare at him, broken. He shook his head, laughing bitterly. Of course you can't say anything. You never could. The silence between us burned hotter than fire. My body leaned forward without thought, drawn to him like a magnet. His eyes widened slightly, then narrowed, daring me. For a breathless second, our faces were inches apart. The air was thick, charged. My heart pounded, my lips almost brushing his. But then he stood abruptly, grabbing his things. His chair scraped against the floor. He leaned close, his voice a whisper that slid like ice into my ear. "You owe me more than an apology, Min-joon." And then he was gone. I sat there in the empty office, my chest heaving. The ghosts of his words wrapped around me, sharp and heavy. I pressed my hand to my lips, trembling with the memory of what almost happened. I had thought I buried the past. But Jae-hyun was back. And this time, he wasn't going to let me run. I never believed in ghosts, not until Jae-hyun came back into my life. He was alive, yes, but he haunted me just the same. Every time I saw his face, I remembered the boy I once kissed under the stars. It was our first kiss. College campus, late at night. We had been studying, laughing too much, teasing each other. The library lights spilled through the windows, but we slipped outside, standing under the cherry trees. He leaned close, his eyes soft, his lips trembling like he was afraid. I remember the way his breath warmed my cheek, the way my heart almost leapt out of my chest. And then it happened. Our lips touched, gentle, shaky, but perfect. I tasted sweetness, like spring. I remember how he smiled against my mouth, whispering, "Finally." That night, I thought I had found forever. But forever had burned down, leaving only ashes. Because now, the same lips that once kissed me with joy only pressed together in silence, refusing me. The same eyes that once sparkled for me now looked at me with cold fire. I had broken something that could not be fixed. The company sent us on a work trip. A simple 2-day meeting with clients in another city. I thought it would be fine. I told myself I could keep things professional. I lied to myself. When we arrived, the hotel clerk frowned, checking the system. "I'm sorry," she said, bowing. "There's been a booking error. Only one room is available." My chest tightened. I glanced at Jae-hyun. His jaw clenched, his expression hard. "Fine," he said shortly. "One room." I should have protested. I should have fixed it. But instead, I nodded like a coward, afraid of showing too much. The room was small. Too small. One bed, one desk, one window. The air between us was thick before we even stepped inside. I dropped my bag on the chair, trying to act calm. "You can take the bed. I'll sleep on the couch." "There's no couch," Jae-hyun said flatly. I looked. He was right. Only a chair, too small for even a child. My throat went dry. "Then I'll take the floor," I muttered. He laughed bitterly, tossing his bag on the bed. "Still the same, huh? Always trying to look noble after doing the worst thing." The word stung. "Jae-hyun." He turned on me sharply, his eyes blazing. "Why, Min-joon? Why did you leave me like that?" I froze. The question I had feared for years finally burned in the air. The words choked my throat. I wanted to tell him everything, that my family would never accept us, that I was scared of losing everything, that I thought I was protecting him. But the excuses felt weak even in my mind. "You don't know what it did to me," he continued, voice trembling with anger. "You don't know how many nights I waited, hoping for a message, a call, anything. And you gave me nothing. Nothing, Min-joon." Guilt stabbed me deep. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "Sorry." He stepped closer, his face inches from mine. "Do you think that fixes anything?" His voice shook, but his eyes glistened, raw with pain. My heart ached. I wanted to touch him, hold him, erase the years of silence. My hand lifted without thinking, reaching for him. I never stopped. "Don't say it," he snapped, shoving my hand away. "You don't get to say that now." The air between us boiled. Anger, hurt, desire. It all mixed, wild and dangerous. Suddenly, He grabbed my collar, yanking me close. His breath hit my lips, hot and furious. My heart thundered, my whole body shaking. For a moment, I thought he would kiss me. My lips parted, waiting, aching. But then, he pushed me back hard, letting go. I stumbled, breathless, the taste of him still hanging in the air, though we had never touched. "Don't you dare play with me again," he whispered, his voice low and broken. The rest of the night was silence. I lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling, my chest heavy. Jae-hyun lay on the bed, his back turned to me. Every sound he made, every sigh, every turn, tore through me. Sleep never came. The next day, after the meeting, I stepped outside to clear my head. That was when Hannah found me. She stood with her arms crossed, her sharp eyes narrowing at me. Hannah had been Jae-hyun's closest friend since college. She had seen our love then. She had seen our breakup too. "Min-joon," she said coldly, "why are you here again? Haven't you heard him enough?" My lips parted, but I had no answer. "He finally started healing," she continued, her voice softening just a little. "And now you show up, dragging the past back. If you're only going to hurt him again, stay away." Her words were knives, but they were true. "I don't want to hurt him," I whispered. I can't stop loving him." She shook her head. "Then prove it, or leave him alone." That night, after dinner with the clients, Jae-hyun drank too much. His cheeks were flushed, his steps unsteady. Hannah helped him back to the room, then left me with him. I guided him to the bed, trying to ignore the way his weight pressed against me, the way his hand clung weakly to my sleeve. As I tucked him in, he grabbed my wrist. His eyes, hazy with alcohol, locked on mine. "Min-joon," he whispered, voice thick. "Do you know how much I hated you?" My chest tightened. "I know," I whispered back. His lips trembled. "But do you know what's worse?" His eyes shone, glassy with unshed tears. I leaned closer, my breath caught. "What?" He swallowed hard, his voice breaking. "I never stopped wanting you, but I hate you more than I love you." The words shattered me. My knees almost buckled. I sat beside him, staring at the man I had once promised forever, now broken because of me. He drifted to sleep, his hand still clutching mine. And I sat there, drowning in the ashes of our old flame. I told myself I could handle seeing him every day. I lied. Every time Jae-hyun passed my desk, my chest got tight. His voice, cool and sharp, cut into me deeper than I wanted to admit. The more I tried to act calm, the more my mask slipped. The office was buzzing that week, but not because of work. It was Woo-sung. He had a smile too wide, eyes too sharp, and a tongue too loose. "You two seem close," I overheard him whisper to another coworker, his eyes flicking to me. "Or maybe too close." I clenched my fists onto the table. He was spreading rumors, and everyone knew it. Small laughs, side looks, little smirks. They all fed on the tension between me and Jae-hyun like hungry animals. I wanted to protect Jae-hyun from it. He didn't deserve whispers, didn't deserve doubt. I almost stepped in that morning, almost told Woo-sung to shut his mouth. But when I caught Jae-hyun's eyes, he wasn't thankful. He wasn't comforted. He looked insulted, like he thought I was pitying him. That cut deeper than any rumor. By night, the office emptied. The clicking of keyboards faded. The soft hum of lights echoed through the room. I stayed late, trying to bury myself in work. But the silence grew heavy. And then I felt it. His presence. I lifted my head. Jae-hyun stood by the doorway, his face shadowed, his eyes burning like fire held back too long. "You," he said, his voice low. I swallowed hard. "Jae-hyun." He walked toward me, each step sharp, his shoulders tense. My body went stiff. I had dreamed of him coming close again, but not like this, not with so much anger. "What do you want?" I asked, even though I already knew. His jaw clenched. The truth. Before I could speak, he grabbed me by the collar and slammed me against the wall. The sound echoed through the empty office. My breath hitched, my back pressing into the cold surface. "Why?" His voice cracked like lightning. His hand tightened on my shirt. "Why did you leave me? Do you know what you did to me?" I couldn't look away from his eyes. They were wet, red at the corners, but still blazing with hate. Or was it hurt? My throat closed. I was scared, Jae-hyun. Scared. His laugh was bitter, harsh. You destroyed me because you were scared. My hands shook, but I lifted them slowly until they rested on his wrists. His pulse beat fast, wild. I wanted to calm him, but I knew I couldn't. He pushed closer, our chests pressed tight, his breath hot against my face. You don't get it, he hissed. I waited. I begged myself to forget you, but every night I dreamed about you. His lips trembled as he spoke. And now you act like nothing happened. Like I'm just your coworker. His words hit me harder than his grip. My body burned. Jae-hyun, I whispered, and before I could stop myself, my hand cupped his cheek. His skin was hot, soft, too close. For 1 second, he didn't move. His eyes softened, lips parting. The air between us shook with something sharp and heavy. And then it broke. His lips crashed into mine. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't sweet. It was raw, desperate, filled with years of pain and want. His mouth moved against mine hard, teeth clashing, breath heavy. I gasped against him, my hands pulling him closer, my heart beating so fast it hurt. He kissed me like he hated me. He kissed me like he still wanted me. I kissed him back like I was drowning. My hands slid into his hair, tugging, holding, begging. His fingers dug into my shirt, clutching me like he would tear me apart. The heat between us grew wild, dangerous, unstoppable. Our lips broke only to crash again, rough and hungry. His tongue brushed mine, sharp and quick, and I groaned, pulling him tighter against me. Every nerve in my body lit up. Every memory, every regret, every dream I had of him came alive in that kiss. But just as fast, it ended. He shoved me back, hard. His breath was ragged, his lips red and swollen. His chest rose and felt like he had run a mile. I stood frozen, my heart in my throat. Jae-hyun wiped his mouth with the back of his hand, his eyes shaking but sharp. You don't get to ruin me twice, he whispered, his voice breaking. His gaze locked on mine, filled with both fire and tears. Stay away. And then he was gone. The office door slammed, leaving me against the wall, lips bruised, chest aching, and soul burning. I slid down slowly, covering my face with my hands. His taste still lingered on my lips. His voice still cut into my heart. Stay away. But I couldn't. I knew it then. I would never be able to stay away from Jae-hyun again. I was done lying to myself. Every time I told myself to let him go, my chest only grew heavier. Every time I tried to treat him like just another coworker, my eyes betrayed me. I was still in love with him. I never stopped. And I was tired of running. That morning, the office buzzed louder than usual. Papers shuffled, whispers spread. Something was wrong. I could feel it before I even saw him. Woo-sung stood in the middle of the room, a cruel grin on his face. Beside him, Jae-hyun stood stiff, his fists clenched at his sides. What's this, Jae-hyun? Woo-sung held up a folder, waving it like a weapon. Rumors say you've been sleeping your way to the top. And look, late-night emails to Min-joon? Very personal. The crowd gasped. Eyes turned. The whispers grew sharper. My stomach dropped. Woo-sung had twisted the truth, maybe even faked evidence. But I could see the trap. If Jae-hyun defended himself, no one would believe him. His jaw was tight, his eyes dark with anger. But underneath I saw it, the fear, the shame of being exposed. I couldn't let it happen. Before I even thought, I stepped forward. My voice cut through the air. Enough. The room froze. All eyes turned to me. I walked to Jae-hyun's side, my shoulders squared. I glared at Woo-sung. You think you're clever? You think throwing lies makes you strong? You know nothing about him. Woo-sung sneered. So you admit it? That you too? Yes, I snapped. I admit it. Gasps filled the air. My heart pounded, but my voice stayed firm. I love him. I always have. And if you think you can shame him with that, you're wrong. The office went silent. Woo-sung's smirk faltered. Jae-hyun turned to me, eyes wide, lips parted in shock. I had never said those words out loud before. Not at work. Not in public. But now, there they were, hanging heavy in the air, impossible to take back. The whispers started again, louder this time. But I didn't care. I only saw him. Jae-hyun's hand trembled at his side. His lips pressed tight. He looked at me like I had ripped open a wound he'd buried deep. Without a word, he stormed out of the office. I followed. We ended up in the empty stairwell. The door slammed shut behind him. His shoulders shook as he leaned against the wall, his face hidden. Why, his voice cracked. Why would you do that? Because I couldn't let him hurt you, I said softly. He spun around, his eyes blazing. Tears glistened at the corners, but his anger burned hotter. You think that fixes everything? You think standing up for me erases the years you left me alone? His words stabbed, but I didn't flinch. Not this time. No, I said, my voice low. It doesn't. Nothing can erase that. But I can tell you the truth. His breath hitched. The truth. I stepped closer, my chest heavy. I left because I was scared. My family, they would have disowned me. I was weak. I thought I could protect you by disappearing. But all I did was destroy us both. The silence that followed was thick, almost unbearable. Jae-hyun's lips trembled. His fist shook. You coward, he whispered, his voice breaking. Do you know how many nights I cried for you? Do you know how much I hated myself for loving you still? Tears spilled down his cheeks. He tried to turn away, but I caught his wrist. I know, I whispered. My own voice cracked. And I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry, Jae-hyun. But I never stopped loving you. Not once. He struggled, pushing against me weakly. His chest heaved. His sobs muffled against my shoulder. And then, slowly, he broke. His arms wrapped around me, clutching me like I was both the wound and the cure. My heart shattered and healed all at once. We stood like that, tangled in anger and tears, until the heat between us shifted. His lips brushed my jaw, almost by accident. My breath caught. Jae-hyun, I whispered. He lifted his head, eyes red, lips trembling. I hate you, he murmured, voice shaking. But I can't stop wanting you. And then he kissed me. This time, it wasn't violent. It wasn't bitter. It was broken, tender, desperate. His lips moved against mine with a softness that hurt more than anger ever could. I kissed him back, my hands cupping his face, thumbs brushing away his tears. Our mouths fit like they remembered, like no time had passed. The kiss deepened, slow but hungry. His tongue slid against mine, and I groaned into him, my whole body trembling. He pressed me back against the wall, his hands gripping my shirt, pulling me closer, closer, until there was no space left between us. Our breaths mingled, our hearts racing. It was fire and water all at once, burning passion and cooling relief. My lips trailed down his neck, tasting salt from his tears. His fingers slid into my hair, tugging, guiding, begging. I need you, he gasped against my ear. You have me, I whispered back. We kissed again, harder this time, our bodies pressed tight, our hands roaming like they couldn't stop. Every touch was a confession, every sigh a promise. The world outside disappeared. There was only him, only us. By the time we pulled apart, our lips were swollen, our bodies trembling. I rested my forehead against his, our breaths uneven, our hearts still racing together. For the first time in years, I felt whole. And then, in the quiet, he whispered the words that froze me. If you leave me again, he said softly, his voice shaking but sharp, I'll never forgive you. My chest tightened. I held him tighter, knowing he meant it. I won't, I swore. Never again. But deep inside, I feared, would I be strong enough this time? They say words can fix things. But I knew better. Apologies were easy. I could whisper I'm sorry 1,000 times, and it would never be enough. Because I had left him once, and sorry could not erase the nights he cried, the loneliness he lived with. If I wanted him back, truly back, I had to prove it with action. But action came with a cost. The office was a storm the next morning. Gossip buzzed like angry bees. Eyes followed us wherever we went. Some looked at us with disgust, others with curiosity, a few with something like pity. Woo-sung was the loudest of all. He dropped hints, made sly jokes, and laughed too loudly in meetings. Careful, he said once, his eyes locked on Jae-hyun. You wouldn't want people thinking you only got this job because of Min-joon. I wanted to punch him. But I didn't. Not because I was weak, but because I knew proving myself to Jae-hyun meant patience, not violence. I caught Jae-hyun's eyes across the room. His jaw was tight, but he held his ground. He wasn't hiding anymore. And neither was I. Later, Hannah found me. She had always been close to Jae-hyun, protective of him like a sister. I braced for her anger. But when she saw us together in the break room, Jae-hyun beside me, his hand brushing mine by accident, her lips curved into a small smile. Finally, she said softly. I blinked. You're not angry? Her eyes softened as she looked at Jae-hyun. He's been broken for too long. But now, I see him healing. Jae-hyun looked away, his ears red. I felt my chest grow warm, as if her words were a blessing I didn't deserve. But blessings meant nothing if I didn't prove them right. So that night, I took him with me. Where are we going? He asked, his voice guarded. You'll see, I said, guiding him through the familiar streets. We reached the old college campus, silent under the evening sky. My heart pounded as we climbed the stairs. Each step carried memories. Finally, the rooftop. The place where we had first kissed. The place where it all began. The city lights spread below us, glowing like stars. The cool wind brushed against our faces. Jae-hyun froze when he realized where we were. His lips parted, his eyes wide. You remember, he whispered. I never forgot, I said. We stood there, the air thick with silence and memory. I turned to him, my chest heavy. Jae-hyun, I need to say this. Not as a coworker. Not even as your ex. But as the man who still loves you. His eyes shimmered in the city glow. I was weak, I said, my voice raw. I let fear control me. I let the thought of losing my family be bigger than the thought of losing you. And in doing so, I lost both. I hurt you more than anyone ever should. I don't deserve your love, but I can't stop wanting it. I stepped closer, my voice breaking. I don't want to hide anymore. Not from the world, not from myself, and not from you. If you let me, I'll spend the rest of my life proving that I'll never leave again. The silence stretched. My heart hammered in my chest. Then, slowly, tears slipped down his cheeks. You're an idiot, he whispered, his voice trembling. A selfish, stupid idiot. I reached out, brushing his tears with my thumb. I know. He let out a shaky laugh, then a sob. His hands clutched my shirt as he leaned into me, burying his face in my chest. The dam broke. His shoulders shook with years of pain spilling out. And all I could do was hold him tighter, whispering his name again and again. When he lifted his head, his eyes were wet, his lips trembling. I can't forget what you did, he said softly. The pain will always be there. I know, I said. But, his breath hitched. I still love you. I never stopped. And I'm so tired of fighting it. And then he kissed me. This kiss was everything. The anger, the longing, the love we had buried for years. His lips pressed against mine with heat and tenderness all at once. My hand slid around his waist, pulling him close, feeling every tremor of his body against mine. The kiss deepened, slow but desperate. His mouth opened for me, his tongue brushing mine, sending sparks down my spine. I groaned, tilting my head, wanting more, needing more. He clung to me like he was afraid I'd disappear again. I kissed him back like I was swearing I never would. Our breaths grew heavy, our hearts racing as the world around us faded. The rooftop, the city lights, the night sky, all blurred into nothing compared to the warmth of his body against mine. When we finally pulled apart, both of us were breathless, our lips swollen, our eyes locked. He pressed his forehead to mine, his voice barely above a whisper. If you leave me again, he said, his tone sharp but filled with pain, I'll never forgive you. I swallowed hard, my hands trembling as I held his face. Then I won't. Not ever again. Later, we walked hand in hand through the city streets. People stared, some whispering, some smiling, but I didn't care. His hand was warm in mine, his grip firm. For the first time, I wasn't hiding. For the first time, I wasn't scared. As the lights of the city glowed around us, I thought to myself, second chances aren't given. They're fought for. And this time, I would fight for him. For us. for love, no matter what. Thank you so much for watching this episode on Pure Blush BL. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and drop a comment below to share your thoughts. Your support helps us create even more intense and emotional BL stories for you.